What's up YouTube, Dell here from Zephyr, and today I'm bringing you an update to one of my favourite 5D era decks, and that is of course Red Dragon Archfiend. Now this isn't just pure Red Dragon Archfiend, this is Red Dragon Archfiend with Centurions, as I realised I haven't actually done a profile like this on the channel. So, before we get started with it, massive shout out to Terry who was able to provide me with the list for this build. He is the local Red Dragon Archfiend player. He's done incredibly well with pure Red Dragon Archfiend. So if you want to see a pure Red Dragon Archfiend update, then make sure you get the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, and I'll also bring you his list for that as well. So, with all of that out of the way, and without further ado, we're going to dive headfirst into the profile. I'm going to show you what we've got, explain why we've got it, and then just kind of give you an insight into what you could do if you want to be experimenting with your Red Dragon Archfiends for the upcoming format. So starting off with the Resonators themselves, we are going to be playing 2 Soul Resonator. Now before you go, whoa, that's a little bit weird, keep it in mind that because we're combining this with the Centurions also act as a starter. They are routes to get everything going, so you don't want to be clogging with Soul Resonator plus a Centurion. You want to be able to balance the pair of them. We're also playing the 1 Crimson Resonator, again like your ideal starter, but not a starter you want to be relying on just because it has so many fragilities. It's still a very good starter for the deck if you're able to go off unanswered, and we are playing the Bystials in this version as well because not only do they act as extenders for the deck, but they're also very powerful hand trap interactions in this current format. Mainly looking at the Raizio and Mitsurugi matchup, but can also be quite useful in a Malice matchup, and then with some of them post-Justice Hunters decks as well. If you hit the right core component, you can cause more issues that way as well. Then 2 Vision Resonator, I really like this card. It's probably my favourite Resonator of the new ones. Soul Resonator is great, but I just like how Vision Resonator itself could be a little bit more splashable in other decks, and it kind of gives certain decks a little bit more of an added edge. 1 Synchron Resonator, that's pretty much all you really need for the Resonators themselves, and then 2 Bone Archfiends. So again, unlike a pure version where you'd probably play stuff like the Aggressive Overloop, and then maybe even your Tiger, is it Tiger Wagyu? If I remember correctly, but rather than playing all of those additional Fiend extenders, you just focus on Bone Archfiend. That's the card you only really need to worry about, and it's kind of what gets you ticking, because the Centurions are going to fill in the slots for the rest of them. 2 Crimson Gaia, again, just the way that during the main phase you get to add a Red Dragon Archfiend or a card that mentions it. It just gives you a little bit more consistency, searchable off the back of your Vision Resonator when it's sent, and kind of backs it up that way. Resonator, cool, so it can act as a pseudo of any of your others. It's not a card you want to rely on, but it's kind of one of the ones that lets you flip between the two. It's like, okay, cool, do I want an extender for Vision Resonator? Do I want an extender for Synchron Resonator, or do I want to start it in the form of Soul Resonator? So it gives you the benefit of all those different options, depending on what situation you're in. Then the final one is the Red Zone. So this is probably the ideal trap card for all of the options you have. I'm personally a big fan of the red screen. I just like how it's more of a Floodgate-esque card, but I do like the disruption effect of the Red Zone, which really kind of gives you a bit more of an added edge. So that's it for the Red Dragon Archfiend, or Resonator cards. Moving into the Centurion cards themselves. So we're going to be playing 1 of each of the names. We've got the 1 Trudea, the 1 Primera, and the 1 Tree, alongside the 1 Gargoyle. Now I'm going to go over the Centurions if you're a little bit unfamiliar with the way that this kind of engine plays. So when this card is a continuous trap card, level 5 or higher Centurion monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can raise each of the following effects once per turn. If it is normal or special, you get to add a Centurion card from the deck to the hand except itself. You can't special summon Centurion Premier for the rest of the turn. During the main phase, if this card is a continuous trap card, you get to special summon it. So that's where they're going to start getting their benefits, is because you're going to be able to trigger certain effects off the Synchro during your opponent's turn, but also being able to use stuff like the Primera to kind of summon itself from the spell and trap zone, and then be able to Synchro summon during your opponent's turn thanks to Stand-Up Centurion. Trudea is during the main phase you get to place this card you control and a Centurion monster from the hand or deck except itself into the spell and trap zones as a face-up continuous trap card. So again, if you need a non-tuner, if you need a tuner, if you need a level 8, you can utilise them from that position onwards. You can't special summon it for the rest of the turn, but during the main phase, if this card is a continuous trap card, you get to special summon this card, and you can increase its level by 4. Now again, the benefit of something like that is if you already have a Primera or a Tree on the field, which are both level 4 tuners, this is going to give you access to a Synchro level 12 off of the back of your stand-up Centurion, and this really is kind of like the core component of this hybrid between the two, because what you do is both of these have certain locks. There are cards like the Emblar Oath, which locks you into Centurions. But then on the flip side as well, when you're looking at your Synchrons moving into the Resonators moving into your Synchros and your Red Dragon Archfiends, they can also lock you into Dark Dragons. So what you want to be doing is going first, you want to be able to go through your Synchrons, your Resonators, your Resonators into Synchros, same era, to work your way into the Red Dragon Archfiend line. Your Bestials will help you extend that play to give you something like a Disbatter to give you a bit of line of protection. Then you want to utilise your Centurions that can be accessed through the back of Auxilia, as this is a Dark Dragon Synchro monster, to then be able to work your way into Centurion plays during your opponent's turn, and you can work your way into stuff like Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon can then spawn other level 12 Synchros off the back of it. It can give you a bit more flexibility depending on what you're trying to achieve when you're going into your opponent's turn. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility to play around with it, but that kind of comes down to your preference. The tree is if this card you control would be used as Synchro until you can treat it as a non-tuner, you can use each of the effects once per turn. If this card is normal or specialed and you have both an Emblem card and a Centurion card in your graveyard, you get to draw a card. You can't special summon itself for the rest of the turn. And then during your main phase, if this card is a continuous track card, again, special summon it. The Gargoyle is kind of like your extender for the Centurions. So you get to send a face-up Centurion card you control to the graveyard to special summon this card from the hand, but you can't special summon itself for the rest of the turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard as Synchro material, you get to add this card back from the grave to the hand. During the main phase, if this card is a continuous track card, you can special summon it, then you can reduce its level by 4. So again, what you can see by here is the Primera and the Atreat are your tuners, your Gargoyle and the Trudia are the non-tuners, and they're the ones that can adapt their levels depending on what you're trying to get into. Then the core component for the Centurions, this is what makes the hybrid work so well, is free stand-up Centurion. So it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effect while you control a Centurion monster card. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. During your main phase, if this card was activated this turn, you get to send one card from your hand to the graveyard to place the Centurion monster from the deck into the spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous trap. If a monster or monsters is special, you get to immediately after this effect resolve, Synchro summon a Synchro monster, use a monster you control as materials, including a Centurion monster. So again, that's why you need your Primeras, that's why you need your Trudeas to activate as continuous trap cards so that you can activate their effects and trigger this off whenever you want to during the opponent's turn. Then 2 of the Embler Oath. So this is kind of one that's a little bit sticky in the deck because it does lock you into Centurions for the rest of the turn. So you can activate it as a quick play spell. You place a Centurion monster from the deck into your spell and trap zone as a face or continuous trap. But for the rest of this turn, while you control that card or any card with the same original name, you can't special summon from the extra deck except Centurions. Alternatively, you can set a Centurion spell or trap directly from the deck. So again, it's more ways to get you access to your field spell. It's also more ways that during your opponent's turn, you can get to a Centurion monster to the spell and trap zone, use the effect, summon it out, but then it does restrict to what you're going to be going into, whether you're going to go into the Lagita or if you're going to be going to the Auxilia. So that's kind of where you need to adapt a little bit more depending on the strategy you want to approach. The last Centurion card we play is the 1 Wake Up Centurion as a quick play spell card. If a monster card is face out in your spell and trap zone, you get to declare a level 4 or 8. Special summon a Centurion token, Pyro Dark, attack 0, defense 0 with the same declared level, but it can't be used as fusion or link material, which is fine because you're not going to really want to be doing that in this deck anyway. During your main phase, you can banish this card from the grave to send a Centurion card from the deck to the grave, except itself. You can only use each effect once per turn, and the benefit of something like that is, again, you can put Gargoyle into the graveyard, and that's a way that can help it loop itself back if you're able to recycle that resource. There's other ways to do that as well. Then just for utility cards and Bestials and everything else, we are playing 2 Earthbound Prisoner Stonesweeper. So this is just a really cool card to help you facilitate your Bestials because you can activate this, discard it to add a level 3 or lower Fiend monster from the deck, and that's when it's going to get you access to all of your other Resonators as well. And that's kind of why you don't need to rely so heavily on Resonator Call because this will pretty much fill in the space of those other 2 components, while also then being a dark in the graveyard for all of your Bestials to be utilized for. Speaking of the Bestials, we're on the 1 Lubellion, the 1 Bulldrake, Druid Swarm, Magnamut, Saranir, and Regained. All pretty straightforward and simple on that one. I don't think I need to explain these so much. The other additional benefit of something like Regained is it lets you banish your one of Centurions, and then you can trigger Regained to put them back to the bottom of the deck, and it lets you recycle them for the grind game. Then for the hand traps and field breakers of choice, there are 3 Mortrami Fluoros, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Droll, and then 2 Forbidden Droplet. But again, adapt it as you see fit. If you want Imperms in here, if you want Perulias in here, by all means put them in here, and that's when you're going to be able to utilize them to your own preference. So that's it for the entire main deck, and now to show you the extra deck. So for the extra deck, the Centurions of choice will of course be your Auxilia. So face-up cards in your spell and trap zone cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you get to add a Centurion card from the deck to the hand. And during the end phase, you get to place one of your non-synchro Centurion monsters that is banished or in the graveyard into the spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous trap card. We've then got the one Lagita. So this one, your monsters with 2,000 or less attack can't be destroyed by battle. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you get to draw a card, and then you can destroy the monster your opponent controls with the highest attack, your choice if tied. During the end phase, place one non-synchro Centurion monster from your hand or grave into the spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous trap. Then the final Centurion monster we're playing in the extra deck, and then I'll go through the rest of the levels, is the one Centurion Primera Primus. So generic rank 8, Spellcaster, Synchro Tuner. So it's a little bit more specific to activate during your opponent's turn because this is the only one that can be utilized under the locks. So you've got a Dragon, a Machine, and a Spellcaster. So it can't be destroyed by battle unless it was special summoned from the extra deck. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is synchronized, you get to add an emblem card from the deck or grave to the hand, and then you get to destroy 2 cards, one on each field. If a face-up Centurion card or card you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, while this card is in the graveyard, except during damage state, you get to special summon it back. So it's just one of these ones that you can make a little bit earlier doors, get your access to your emblem, but then also destroy it and have it float back as well if you need to. For the other level 12s, we do have the one Crimson Dragon and the one Red Supernova Dragon, keeping it on the Red Dragon Archfiend theme. But if you wanted to, you can also consider any other level 12 dragons. The idea is that you make Auxilia during your turn, when you are either Dark Dragon Locked or anything else like that, and then you can make your Crimson Dragon during your opponent's turn, target the Auxilia, and then spawn yourself out of Red Supernova Dragon, which is really nice. For the level 10s, we've got the one Bestial Dispatter and the one Chaos Angel. Pretty much you just utilize a Bestial plus a Resonator in any kind of scenario to get you into your Dispatter. Or of course you do have Bone Archfiend as well sometimes that could be used as a level 4 Dark to go with your Chaos Angel. Because remember, using Lights and Darks, it treats one of them as a tuner even though they're not. The one Trisha the Dragon and the Ice Barrier, and the reason that we play this is that, again, during your turn you can make your Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and then during your opponent's turn, utilising your Centurions, you can make your Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon will then allow you to target the Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and then spawn out your Trisha the Dragon and the Ice Barrier to then banish one from grave, field and hand. So it's a nice little bit of a, not even a clearance, but a nice little way to rip away some of your opponent's resource. For the 8s, we have 2 Red Dragon Archfiend with the 1 Scarred Dragon Archfiend. The reason for something like this is when you Scarred leaves the field, it spawns into a Red Dragon Archfiend, so it's just ways to keep maintaining the loop of these guys when you need to. Gone for the one Bills of the Diabolical Dragons. Now, the reason this one's so good is if you are facing a lot of Mitsurugi Raizals, as I still feel, maybe more so the Mitsurugis, it still maintains its budget element. That in a current format where you're looking at like 120 to 150 and plus, if you want the Canine engine, if you want the Yummy deck, if you want the Dragon Tail deck, if you wanted to still stick away or your local's still stuck to the Mitsurugi strategy, you need a card like Bills the Diabolical Dragon that basically says can't be destroyed by battle or card effect, and then when you take damage from an attack involving this card or from an opponent's card effect, it just gains attack. So it just becomes like a really annoying towers that they need to be able to deal with, and then it can still just get stronger and stronger and stronger, and if they can't get to the out of it or can't find the out to it, it could cause them a lot of issues. The penultimate synchro, or the last synchro we play, and the penultimate monster from the extra is the Red Rising Dragon, just because it's, again, one of them options that if you go through your Crimson Resonator, it's one of the best starters you could possibly have. You don't rely on it so heavily just because of the types of restrictions of not having monsters on the field, and when you're playing the Bestials, you're kind of not wanting to hold back the Bestials during your opponent's turn. Like, if you have the option to interact with them, you're going to do it, and that then shuts off the effectiveness of the Red Rising Dragon. The final card we play is the one SP Little Knight. It's just one of them generic limp monsters that if you are able to get 2 Bestials to the field, or if you're able to get like a Druid Swarm and another card to the field and you want to either, or you can't synchro, you just go into an SP Little Knight. The benefit of something like that is SP Little Knight, when they activate an effect, you can banish itself and then another card on the field, meaning that your field is completely clear again to then start on either your Centurion routes or, of course, your Red Dragon Archfiend Resonator routes as well. So that's it for the entire profile. As I said at the start of the video, massive shout out to Terry who was able to provide me with this list. This is his list that he would work with, and like I said, he's the local Red Dragon Archfiend player, so I thought it'd be best to get his insight in behind the deck because of what it looks like in the modernized game. And as I said, the last time I did a Red Dragon Archfiend deck was like 11 months ago, which was absolutely wild to me. I was like, how have I not updated this deck since? And like I said, I'd never done Centurion version of this deck before. And the Centurions were something that I was able to pick up relatively easily and relatively cheaply as well. So anyway, I hope this gives you a bit of an insight. Like I said, massive shout out to Terry on this one. Thank you very much. If you do want to be seeing the pure version that he's been doing very, very well with at locals, make sure you get the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours and I will be more than happy to bring that for you. Anyway, for now, as absolutely always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.